long. And it really epitomizes who we are as unity. All of us together from different backgrounds. My goodness, I don't believe it. George and Lindsay are back. Yeah. Oh, that is so exciting. So exciting. Welcome back. We missed you. Woo. For those who may be online or maybe watching later, George and Lindsay were in the States for quite a while and they're back. And they brought such a spiritual uh, core to Unity of London, and we really miss them. And every time I say the word surrender, I think of George. Because in our book study, anyway, that's a whole other story. We're so happy you're back. And we welcome Marie France. And I would like to invite Frank up just to make a little announcement about Marie France. If no, he doesn't want to come. All right. Okay. Yes, he's coming. Yay, Frank. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't get the notes ahead of time for this. Oh yes, I'm very excited, happy, relieved, sad. So after, I don't know, 3 or 4 or a dozen years, have been doing the bookkeeping here at Unity, which I have loved and I very much enjoy. But I just kind of wanted to take a break for 6 months or 7 months. So we got a replacement, Marie Franz, who comes here on a regular basis anyway. So it's going to work out well. So excellent. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Frank. I shouldn't do that, should I? Put people on the spot. But he did so well. And if you haven't had a chance to meet Marie France, who's here in her wheelchair, please make a point of meeting and greeting her. She's often on our prayers at 9 a.m. in the morning. And when she's not, it's only because she's maybe speaking with her doctor online or doing much needed rest for her leg. But when she's wherever she is, she brings a spirit of energy and enthusiasm. And that is what we all have inside. And when we're around people like that, it brings it forth in us. And today, whoops. Nothing on the monitor, Peggy, so I'll leave it to you to go backwards. No, it's not on. That's okay. We'll just carry on. There's nothing on the monitor. I see the slide up there. That's fine. So let's just carry on. When we say welcome home Unity London, we're not just saying welcome to the building on 501 Nelson. We're saying way more than that. We're saying welcome to the joy, the love, the curiosity, the growth, the communicating with each other that is such an integral part of Unity of London. We need that, we enjoy it, and we nurture it. Every single time you reach out to somebody beside you or in the fellowship room, you smile, you greet them, you say, hey, so good to see you. That's unity. That's welcoming with love and light. Next slide, please. All right. There we go. Our 5 unity principles are not just words. You know that. And when you say them out loud, if you're going through a process that we used to call chemicalization, which just means all your old beliefs, all your old habits meeting up with a new way of thinking, and you going, whoa, do I really get this? Do I really accept this? That's okay. It's part of the process. And it may happen even if you've been in unity for 10 years. If you're brand new and you think, it's okay. Part of the growth. I do invite you to share with me as we share each of the principles. First, God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. Imagine that. Everything, everywhere. And I'm using sheets in case you wonder why, because the print is too small and I can't see the screen anymore. I am naturally good because God's divinity is within me and in everyone. I am naturally good. So if you're ever having self-doubts or you're thinking, I don't deserve all this good, I don't deserve people to love me, just pull out your principle. I am naturally good because God's divinity is within me and everyone. I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. Through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. I do my best by living the truth I know. I make a difference. And how do we make a difference? When we practice being the change we are, that positive change, we inspire people around us to also make positive changes in their lives. That's exciting. We coexist by providing fellowship and education for spiritual seekers in all walks of life. And at the board meeting tonight, I'll be sharing some ideas for outreach. So get ready, because you might be called upon. You might be called upon to take the message of unity out there into the community. That's an exciting thought. And we have some tools that will help you to do that. Today, our prayer chaplain is Dear Dawn. And Dawn's in the room. She's right there in the second row, smiling away. And if you haven't had a chance to pray with Dawn, take that opportunity. She'll be in the little prayer room and Wilda online. And this song is on purpose. I get to choose the songs when Jim's not singing. When Jim sings, he always ends up singing exactly what we want to hear. But I chose, How Can I Serve Today? When you hear this song, when you see the lyrics, ask yourself, are you okay with just coming on Sunday and sitting in that chair and smiling and going into fellowship? Are you okay with that? Is that enough for you? And if it's enough and you're okay with it, okay. Nobody's going to push you. I heard about a spiritual center where people actually had to sign up and they had to promise or they would be kicked out to serve. We're not like that here. That's not us. We invite you. We invite you. And when announcements come up, I'll be inviting Amber to come up just so she knows, and I think she does know. This is not a surprise. I'll be inviting Amber to come up with a few more ideas about how each of us can serve. Serving is loving, giving out the love and getting the love back magnified. So here goes our song. Sunday, sweet spirit, I am Sunday, rolling, sleeping, waiting, I will understand when you leave, I will follow, when you leave, I will go, on in Sunday, sweet Now, wasn't that a rousing song? How can I serve, sweet Spirit? Where you lead me, I will follow. We have our prayer chest, and it's always in front of the room. It's always available for you to put a little paper into it and the name of someone or the names of people you want to hold in prayer. And in our way of praying at Unity of London, we affirm the wholeness, the health, the well-being. So our prayer is prayers of affirmation. I see Sylvia Square here. Oh my goodness gracious. So good that you are here with us in person, Sylvia. Woo. So prayers are answered. Prayers are answered. Wholeness, health, and well-being. So please feel free to put those prayers in the prayer chest. And again, feel free to pray with Don Briglio following our service. And now I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes, to breathe in this moment of prayer together as we affirm all that is good and wondrous in our lives. We pray with gratitude. The strongest way to pray, feeling grateful, feeling filled with love for all that we enjoy. This month, for the final day of July, we hold in prayer Unity Spiritual Center Hamilton and Unity Worldwide Ministries. We hold in loving prayer everyone who made the effort to be here in person today. Marie-France via paratransit, our dear speaker Wendy Karr via her car, and all the road obstructions all the way from Burlington. And anybody else who made an extra effort to be here. Those who are online watching, we are grateful for you watching. We hold you in prayer. We affirm your wellness, your wholeness, your loving spirit radiating life and hope throughout our world. We take a moment to whisper the names of those close to our hearts. In a world that has so much discord, we affirm peace. In a world that has so much homelessness, we affirm homes for all. In a world that has so much despair, we affirm positive vision in the lives of each person. We hold in prayer our educators, our healthcare workers, our leaders in all areas of life, that they may be filled with the right vision, that the love in their hearts will overflow so that they can in turn enable others to feel and give love. To be truly unity in action. To be of service with love and light. For these and for all of our prayers we say, Amen. And it's a joy for me to welcome up our Unity of London Board President, who will introduce our speaker and also share the daily word, Renee Sawa.
Good morning, everyone. Today's word, daily word, is alive. So are we alive today? Yes. Okay, good. Divine life flows through me. Sometimes when life seems filled with obligations and routine, I may feel as though I am merely existing, moving from one task to the next without sparkle or energy. Today I remind myself I am alive, vitality, radiantly, joyfully alive. My life is what I choose to make it. Through my positive attitude and understanding myself as a spiritual being, I realize there is so much more to life than things I must attend to. I will continue to maintain my daily life and respond to the things that need my attention. But now I will meet life with the energy and verve of divine life, which is flowing through me and animating me no matter what I am doing. I affirm. I am a divine being, wondrously and magnificently alive. Amen. Now he is God, not of the dead, but of the living, for to him all of them are alive. Luke 20:38. Today's speaker is Wendy Karr. Wendy joined the Unity movement in 1984 and received her licensed Unity teacher status in 2000. Best known for teaching history of Unity and Bible courses across Canada, she also serves on teams at the national and international levels. She is honored to be back at Unity of London with her message for us today, Wisdom from the Frog Pond. Join me in welcoming LUT Wendy Karr.
Thanks, Renee. Good morning, Unity London. So usually I try to give you a little nugget to take home for the week. Not this time. This time it's a debrief, because this year Unity Worldwide Ministries, after much discussion from those of us who attended. We kept saying, you put us in meetings, and all we do is we have a meeting, and then we eat, and then we have another meeting, and then we eat, and then we go back to our rooms and we sleep, and then we get up and we eat, and then we have a meeting. And we really want to, because it's been such a challenge with this COVID stuff running around, we're feeling disconnected because we're just in meetings, listening to the head on the stage, talking, and we're not getting chances to talk to each other. And so this year they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We'll have a meal plan, because your hotel will provide you breakfast. We'll have a meal plan for lunch and dinner, and we'll make workshops available for those of you who want some skill set, or you want, some knowledge or whatever. And we'll also make some retreat stuff available. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, you just want to hang out on grounds, you can do that too. So the historian immediately got on her computer. Hey, Jolene, how's the archives? I'm going to be on grounds Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Monday, possibly the Tuesday after. Here's what I want to look up. Could you just put it all on a cart, and I will, I'll be really good, and so I spent 4 days in the archives, which those of you who don't know me well, I did my master's in archives and history. So this is like, I actually had an opportunity to apply for that job, but at that point I didn't want to move to the States. So I didn't, but I know the skill set, I know, and so I had this wonderful experience of being in the archives. It went back one. There we go. Being in the archives. Did a selfie with our co-founders. I saw someone else do that, and I'm like, how on earth have I never done that? I've been coming down here for decades, and I never did a selfie with the founders. So that's where I was hanging out. I was surrounded by books, but I had all these wonderful things. And for me, it was soul-filling. Now, for those of you who aren't historians and hated history as a kid and really don't understand what it's all about anymore, blessings. If we were all historians, it'd be really boring. But it was exciting for me because I went in with some questions. And I had given Jolene a heads up that, okay, I wanted to look at this stuff, and I wanted to discover this about this question, and anything else that she thought might be useful. So I wish I had taken a picture of the desk while I was working. So in archives, we have these standardized boxes that are gray, and they pop open. They're really pretty, and you have files in it. So if you picture, I've got my laptop, I've got my notepad for handwriting stuff, I've got a row of boxes. So I've created this little nest on this desk. And I've got a cable from that over to the extension cable. So I'm having to tell people, don't unplug me, please. And I've got my cell phone, and I've got a whole bunch of little scraps of paper that I'm using as bookmarks because I'm scanning stuff or asking the archivist to copy it for me. And it was so exciting. I think you can feel that I got excited. I got excited because there was a photo in the archives, and I was doing totally unrelated research. And I found a little note that Lowell Fillmore, the firstborn of Charles and Myrtle, was going to be in Toronto to bless the new building. And the photograph that I had taken a scan of decades ago, because I've been doing this history for ages, said 1925 or 6, 25 or 6. And on the back, somebody had handwritten the names of the people. Well, I knew Ralph. I knew Lowell, and I knew Ralph. Those were the people from headquarters. I assumed that was the minister and his wife, because I couldn't read the cursive. Now, I'm pretty good on cursive, and blessings to whoever tried to label it, but it was hard. There was disagreement about what it said. But I found something in what I was doing, and I was able to go to Jolene, the head archivist, and say, This photo was taken in March of 1927, and here's my authority for it. And we were on a high for like 2 days that we had finally pinned down where that picture was taken and when. And that may seem like a very little thing, but for me it was twofold. First of all, it reminded everybody that was around me that Canada exists. It's not the 51st state. It's a country unto itself. And we do this interesting dance. And I have felt it not only in Unity, but in the world generally. Because all my paternal cousins live in the States. And every so often they'll say something, and I'll be like, OMG, we share DNA. How are you so ignorant about Canada? You have flippin' family in Canada. So I was on a hunt to find Canada in Unity in the archives. And one of the first things, so for 110 years, this is not a new thing, folks. I laughed so hard. I mean, you're supposed to be somewhat quiet. And I'm sitting there, my shoulders are shaking. I'm laughing so hard and trying so hard to be quiet because there's a group that's being taken on a tour of the area and being shown some really important documents. And Jolene came over, she's like, what'd you find? I said, I found that Canadians have been paying more for Unity materials because of the postage since 1914. So every time we get a kick up, I'm going to remind people that this isn't anything new. This isn't 21st century. This is early 20th century. And it was such a, I don't know, it just kind of confirmed that it's always been this way, that it's not something new, that it's not something post-World War II. It's not something post-creation of the United Church of Canada, which is what I had been taught, was that Unity kind of went by the wayside when the United Church of Canada showed up. And I still haven't found the answer to that because I got down a couple rabbit holes that took longer than I probably should have spent on, but I was having too much fun going down rabbit hills. So I still haven't answered the question of how many Unity churches were there in the early 20th century. That's next year's trip. But other things I found. Actually, Jolene brought this one to me. She got excited too. She said to me, I remember seeing something that said Canada from the early 20s. I said, oh, great, if you can find it. So, in case you can't read the text, Kansas City, Missouri, July 14th, 1923, to Mr. and Mrs. Fillmore and friends at Unity headquarters. The Unity students representing Canada at this first conference. You get that? First ever Unity conference. There were people at Kansas City, Missouri for this from Canada. We wish to express to you their deep appreciation of all that this conference has meant to them. We came hungry for deeper spiritual truths, and we have been fed. We brought with us in mind and in body those who needed to touch the hem of Christ's garments, and many have been made whole. Your constant kindness, courtesy, and attention have proved your oneness of spirit, while the teaching and believing have awakened within us a higher consciousness, healing within us, have awakened within us a higher consciousness. We are one with you in the work and wish to thank you as we say goodbye for a time to take up our work elsewhere. There was a study group or some kind of a gathering in Moose Jaw of Unity folk. Now, I've been in Unity, as Renee indicated. November 4th will be my 40th anniversary in Unity. We haven't had a formal ministry in Moose Jaw in all that time. We haven't had a formal ministry in Saskatoon, which we had 100 years ago. Now, why? As I said, that's future research. I got to figure out a better way to get down there and just boom. Although, as I was preparing to leave, actually both of the archivists came to me and said, we've been really stupid. I'm like, well, no, don't say that about yourself. And they're like, no, we already have scans of this set of documents, so get on the Wi-Fi and we'll just send you all the documents. So I have a flash drive worth of documents still to go through. So that'll be my fun thing to do this winter when it's too cold to go out and I don't really feel like dealing with the snow. I love snow, don't get me wrong. But I recognize that many people do not know how to drive in snow. They see one flake and they freak out. So I'm quite content to just hunker down. I got a new candle gifted to me, and I said to the person who gave it to me, that doesn't get lit till it's winter, and it's dark, and I will think of you. So that was exciting for me, that not only was there unity in Canada 100 years ago, but some of the leadership was at that very first conference. So I was sitting in my desk doing this little happy dance as I was taking notes. And, so then they had a thing about unity publications. And, you know, it's all exciting. Africa, Australia, British West Indies, China, Cuba. But what really stuck out for me, Newfoundland wasn't part of Canada at this point. And yet there were 22 subscriptions. I don't know, could have been Daily Word. It could be, given the time frame, it could have been a number of magazines, because at that point they were just publishing anything and everything, and you could get 3 of their publications to you for $2 a year. But if you were a Canadian, you had to add $1.56 for postage. But 22 subscriptions going to Newfoundland. I didn't know about that. I knew about, you know, Newfoundland's the last one to join formally, and then we get the split in the territories. But that was kind of exciting to me, because we've got nothing in Newfoundland. You know, Pauline, if you ever want to start a new ministry, you know, we'll just ship you out. So where are we? So these pictures are from the 20s. They are from a magazine called Weekly Unity. And literally it came out every week, and it gave you some information about what was going on. And it gave information that I found really interesting, where it was places you could purchase Unity books and publications, but they didn't necessarily have a service or a gathering engaged with it. And I noticed it, there were quite a few notes from France saying, yes, you can get the materials from this person at this address. Please be advised, this is a private residence, not a Unity center. And I just thought that was really interesting. I've sort of got, I almost said my tentacles, but that's not what I mean. But it kind of feels like it. Tangentially, I have an awareness of what's going on in Europe with Unity. And if I've got to live to 150, because I've got so much research I want to do. But I found that really interesting, that there were these notes about. So here we go. Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Canada. Unity Center of Moose Jaw, now located at 73 High Street West, announces the following named activities: Sunday, 2:30 p.m., Bible class Wednesday, 3 p.m., class in Lessons of Truth Thursday, 8 p.m., and then another class in Lessons in Truth. So, and Louise, I found, kind of bounces around. So I did a little research. But to me, I looked at that and I went, wow, how could they do this? How could they have this many classes? And then I got thinking, well, in Ontario at least, probably in Saskatchewan, they probably would have had the Lord's Day Act, which was, and I remember this as a kid, everything was closed, or pretty much everything was closed on Sundays. You know, and heaven forbid that you had any kind of, you know, rehearsal or soccer or anything like that. I remember when that changed, because all of a sudden the church that I was attending at that point, the attendance just plummeted as people had to work on Sunday, or their kids got involved in things on Sunday. So if you didn't have much to do, then yeah, of course you would be, you know, meeting together. So just an aside about that. But just think that, you know, it wasn't, you know, we had these little ones in Moose Jaw. Now, of all of those, Montreal still has a church. Toronto sort of does. Vancouver does. Victoria joined together with 2 other ministries to become Unity Vancouver Island. And Winnipeg is still around. So there is some, you know, great history for us here. If we go down the 401 to Windsor, there was, certainly in the middle 50s, there was a ministry. And then it kind of fizzled out. And then it re-emerged in, I think it was the 80s, somewhere in there, and still exists right now. So it's been kind of this dance that Canada has done of having ministries and not having ministries. So we have Ms. Bowyer, who it was from Dayton, Ohio. She's going to speak in Regina, and then she will also go up to Winnipeg. And that was a tradition, and I see myself in that I do it virtually on Zoom. I started teaching on Zoom before COVID hit, thanks to Pauline, who said, is there any way I can take this class? And we figured out that Zoom was going to be the way to do it. So Unity has a history of sending the teachers out to where they were needed. We just do it with technology now. So that's really nothing new. It just looks a little different. And then they had a column, which they eventually ended. I suspect there was some discussion about this. And the purpose of this particular column was to show that spiritual principles work even outside the Unity movement. And this is from 1926. And what caught my eye was church union, because as I said, I was looking for the United Church of Canada and any relationship. Because I went to a United Church after I had joined Unity, because they had hired me as a historian to help write their history. And so I had gone to a service just to see what it was about. And there was some theology I was a little, But then they said, okay, let's stand and sing the peace song. And I went, oh, that's intriguing, because that's often what Unity churches do. And then they said the prayer for protection. And I remember kind of looking around going, okay, this is really kind of weird. Where did they get this from? But when you go online, you find that a significant portion of Unity's teachings are not given to a particular name. It's anonymous. And so if it sounds like a great prayer, why wouldn't you use it? And if you're not sure what prayer I'm talking about, we'll use it at the end of this service. But so they had this article, sectarianism may have its advantages, but every student of history knows what dissensions and bitter feelings it has engendered in the past. Fortunately, in our day, sectarian bitterness is diminishing rapidly. A unity of spirit is felt, and we even see the beginnings of church union. A little more than a year ago, 3 strong churches in Canada, Presbyterian, Methodist, and Congregational, ventured upon the great experiment of union. The decision for organic union was far from unanimous among the members, but a majority carried the day. Many large and wealthy churches, particularly in the East, refused to enter the union, but despite that drawback, we are told the first year of the United Church has proved the wisdom of the step. So Charles Fillmore was aware of the United Church of Canada and thought about it enough to put an article in his little column about what was happening in the world and held it up as an example of where churches could go instead of butting heads. That here's an example. And I kind of chuckled because there are a number of things in the Unity movement that seem to be normal now, but were Canadian creations. The idea of having, instead of having an intensive week of classes, having it over a number of weeks in smaller doses was something we started doing back in 2000. The idea of having groups come together, so for a long time before we had Zoom, we would have classes in Kitchener And then we'd go to Hamilton, and then we'd go to Mississauga. And folks on the 401 from Ottawa down to Windsor would drive up. We'd find homes for them to stay at overnight so they didn't have to do the round trip. That's normal now. But because of our grand size geographically and the time zones, whenever I hear one of my LUT colleagues say, you know how hard it is to get people together who are in two separate time zones? And I just laugh. So when you get to 5, come talk to me. If we ever get Newfoundland and Labrador into the mix, then we'll have 6 time zones to deal with. And that's what makes Canada wonderful, is that we are different, that we are doing this dance of, we live next door to the US, so we're very engaged, and we're unique. And I leave you with one final thing I found in the archives that just, we had an app for our conference, and you could upload pictures. So I put this one in as one of my pictures. Come on. Help. Forward, please. There we go. Thank you. This is from 1922, I believe. I kind of stayed in the 20s. That was where I wanted to focus my attention. So, from tithing by radio. As a ministry, my home ministry is Halton Peel, and we don't have a building. So we've been meeting by Zoom for forever, it feels like. So pushing 5 years now. So Kansas City Mo. Each Sunday that I am at home, I listen over the radio to the helpful and inspiring talks by Mr. and Mrs. Fillmore. I was impressed one Sunday morning with the remark by Mr. Fillmore that while modern invention has made it possible for us to listen to a sermon at home, no means has yet been devised for taking a collection from those who enjoy this special privilege. I consider this privilege a very special blessing from our great Father, so I have a little collection plate that I make use of, and while I listen to the uplifting and beautiful music, I contribute my tithe with a prayer that it will be multiplied. The enclosed checks are the receipts of 3 months' contributions at home. And I went, well, duh. We need to get folks into the thinking of, it's not about just watching it on YouTube or Facebook or whatever social stream you're on. It's about being engaged in that giving and receiving. And I think that that's been one of the challenges, I know certainly for our community, has been that there was a lot of people who chose to not participate in a financial giving. In fact, I was asked once, well, they don't give money, can they still be a member? And thankfully I was given the words, I don't know, check the bylaws. Because that's what we do. So that's kind of my little trip through the archives. It's not like my usual talks, and next month I promise you I'll have something a little bit more to come home to, take something with you. But I hope, if nothing else, I've helped you feel like we're part of a bigger group. We literally are sea to shining sea, because we have a student who is in Moncton, and then we have students on Vancouver Island. We haven't quite gotten up to the Arctic Ocean yet, but you know, when we talk, we do that. And when we get folks from the States joining us, we sort of joke that we're sea to sea to sea, because we'll get the Gulf of Mexico happening too. And that's something Canada's been great for, is drawing in folks from other parts. And I've noticed that our classes really do attract people. At one series we had folks from the Caribbean, we had a lady from the UK, and we had someone who had expressed interest from, I've forgotten whether it was New Zealand or Australia, but the time frame was just not going to work for her. And blessings, because even with my experience, I don't know that I would be willing to get up at 4 a.m. for a class. I don't function well at 4 a.m. That's all there is to it. So thank you for letting me relive my journey to the archives. And for our meditation, I would like us to do our July affirmations from headquarters. Oops, thank you. Oh, let's just leave it there. So if you haven't been to Unity headquarters, that is one of the largest fountains in the Kansas City area. And that is the whole of the center area. And it's wonderful, and I miss being there. And let's just take a moment to breathe into our time of meditation. And you will have slides to look at if you choose. Or you can choose to allow my voice to be your voice. As always, we have 5 affirmations. Our first affirmation, well, each of these affirmations, I will read aloud. I will fall silent for a moment to allow you to take the words in, and then I'll invite you to speak them with me. So our first affirmation is for inner peace. Peace is my center. I am calm and serene. And together. Peace is my center. I am calm and serene. For guidance, I shine the light of divine wisdom from within to guide my every step. And together, I shine the light of divine wisdom from within to guide my every step. Since I missed clicking that, let's do it one more time so we get the words. I shine the light of divine wisdom from within to guide my every step. For healing, my body is a vessel of life and energy. And together, my body is a vessel of life and energy. For prosperity, the rich blessings of divine abundance flow to me and through me. I am prosperous. And together, the rich blessings of divine abundance flow to me and through me. I am prosperous. And for world peace, I bless this world with thoughts of unity and harmony. And together, I bless the world with thoughts of unity and harmony. And now we just allow these affirmations for inner peace, guidance, healing, prosperity, and world peace to resonate within us. We think the words, we feel the words, we know the words. And taking a deep breath, we allow these words to resonate not only within us, but to flow through and from us to the world, overflowing. And in this quiet time, we bring to mind anyone for whom we have a prayer request or intention. Our intention may be one of gratitude. Our request may be one of seeking to see more clearly. We rest in the knowledge that not only are these prayers being held by those around us and in the prayer box, but also by silent unity. That as our prayers join together, the energy expands and overflows. And for this time together, for this opportunity to walk a path together, we are so grateful. And so it is, and so it shall be. Thank you.
On your behalf, I thank Wendy for what a fascinating archival visit. I can't imagine leaving all the gardens, the fountains, and going into the library. But it's great that Wendy did that for us and that you shared. Thanks so much, Wendy. We have a song now that's one of my favorite, and I always love it when Kate Shield comes up and she does her movements. And if you feel like standing up and joining, please do so. This is a song called Learn How to Fly Again, and don't we all need that? So come on up, Kate. Anybody else who wants to come up and join Kate?
Standing at the edge of the life I know, afraid to step forward, can't see what's below. I've come so far to the top of this hill, don't want to go backward, I refuse to stand still. Faith is knowing I've gotta keep going when life isn't flowing and I don't know why. Wanna keep growing, can't just sit here and cry. Taking the leap, I'm gonna learn how to fly. Thought life was a lesson, like being in school, where I would be safe if I played by the rules. In the blink of an eye, the whole world can change. Till nothing's familiar, no sure thing remains. Faith is knowing I've gotta keep going when life isn't flowing and I don't know why. Wanna keep growing, can't just sit here and cry. Taking the leap, I'm gonna learn how to fly. I'm through playing small, I want so much more. No fear at all, I'm ready to soar. Faith is knowing I've gotta keep going when life isn't flowing and I don't know why. Wanna keep growing, can't just sit here and cry. Taking the leap, I'm gonna learn how to fly. Faith is knowing I've gotta keep going when life isn't flowing and I don't know why. Wanna keep growing, can't just sit here and cry. Taking the leap, I'm gonna learn how to fly. Taking the leap, gonna learn how to fly. Taking the leap, I'm gonna learn how fly.
Thank you, Kate. Thanks to Kate and thanks to Amber, who is up there moving to the music. We have a chance to make an offering, a financial offering that helps us stay with air conditioning, lights, and everything else that goes together with a building, and all the other expenses behind the scenes. We love it when you share your talent. We are really appreciative when you share your finances, whatever you can. And so Kate and Renee will come up. They'll bring around the little bag. If you're not familiar with that, if it changed since you were here last, just put your hand on top if you've already donated, or put something in if you haven't. And we're always grateful for whatever you can share. And as it says in the top, your donations keep Unity thriving and growing. And that's energy, talent, finances, all important, all help us to keep growing. And when Kate and Renee return, we join in our prayer. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Amen. And we do have special announcements. And these were provided for us by Lorraine before she went on holiday. Every Wednesday night, Jim Chapman brings his musicians out here to Unity of London. For only $10 a night, you can enjoy live music. I couldn't be here last Wednesday, said, too bad, Pauline, it was the best night of all. Don't you hate it when someone says that? So Chucky Zare was here with other musicians. But any Wednesday night, and it is air conditioned in the building, you meet lovely people, you meet musicians, you meet Jim, who's always here, and it's a chance to give back to Unity a little bit. So the musicians this Wednesday are the Hampson brothers. I hope I say this correctly. Greg Fraser, and Al Widmeyer. And it's a chance. Enjoy some music, come out and support Unity. And support Jim too. Today is Unity of London Fish Group. And I saw Dave and Kate coming in laden down with lots of equipment for today's fish group, which is decorating plant pots. What a great idea. All the materials are supplied, and sometimes they even provide sandwiches they usually do. So that's after the fellowship starts, usually, Kate, 12:30 or earlier. Oh, she's gone. Well, just hang around in the fellowship room. She's probably in there scurrying around getting it ready. And the people who do all this work to prepare really appreciate a good turnout. And even if you just stay for a few minutes and say, wow, you did all this, thank you very much, just to show that you appreciate if you have to run away somewhere or to stay and take part. Next announcement is about a breakfast and lottery draw. The board has, under the leadership of Renee and our immediate past president, Lorraine, have come up with lots of ideas. And this one is a breakfast and lottery draw. Those are the names of the different restaurants that would accept your $100 card. So imagine $100 worth of breakfast. Wow, you could probably go to several of them. We are looking for a prize donor. someone who would donate $100 for the card, but also for people to purchase the tickets. And the tickets are $10 each, or for 3 for $20. That money all goes back to Unity of London. So if you love having breakfast and you just want to invest, please do that. And the next announcement. Oh, before that, well, we'll wait and have Amber come up at the very end. So let's do the light of God. The light of God surrounds me. I am the light. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love. The power of God protects me. I am the power. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Yay, God. And then we'll do our final song.
Alrighty, everybody, here we go. I have an announcement to make, but could we just for a moment here acknowledge those who have given of their time for anything that maybe you don't even see behind the scenes. Those in the back booth that every week are diligent, you know, like so good to make sure that the information that we're receiving and the slideshow and everything is done so well. Those in the kitchen who are just so faithful, Naomi, to make sure that the food is put out for us. And could we just show them some appreciation? Now, because I can't see you, awesome. I was gonna say, give me some snap, crackle, pop here, okay? We don't acknowledge them enough, I believe. And so, okay. And Jim, oh my goodness, don't get me started. The reason why I'm standing here is on September the 14th, we are going to be having an event that is called Meet the Healers. We will be having some amazing business people as well as other people that offer their modalities to serve people in their health and wellness. We are hosting it here. And so if you know anybody who is in business or not in business, but they have a modality that is able to serve others, could you please let me know and maybe somehow you get us connected, because we do have some space yet available for these people. September 14th, we're having this Meet the Healers, and it takes more than just one person to pull this off. we are requiring some volunteers. Now, I'm going to say something. There is nothing that brings me more joy than to be of service. It lights me up. Most of you know that, some of you don't. It brings me great joy. And I want to have you feel that too. Would you, I'm bringing you a call to action. Would you be willing to help in that day? Whether it be at the door, greeting the people coming in who want to see these facilitators, whether it's in the kitchen, offering the food, preparing the food, packaging the food, maybe in advertising, that you take some flyers and go out there and pump this thing, okay? So I'm bringing a call to action that you feel the joy that I feel, and many of the others that I just spoke about this morning, that you feel the joy of service, and that you come to me, talk to me, and we can give you a position in order for us to work this thing together. As a family, we're family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amber. And before anybody goes, don't go. We had a very special speaker today. That was Wendy Karr, who drove in to be with us, as she usually does. If you have any message you want to share with Wendy, please feel free to come on up and share it.
Well, I got a message first.
Oh, okay.